you know your brokenness can make you either bitter or better? Your brokenness can either continue to ruin your life, or God can use your brokenness actually to change your life for the better. Your brokenness will either make you bitter or better. God can use all the pain in your life in a good way and for better things. Not saying that the pain was good, but just saying that God is so wise and powerful and able and mighty that He can take everything that the enemy meant towards you for evil, and He can turn it for good. Joseph found this out. You meant it for evil, God meant it for good. Your brokenness can either make you bitter or better, and very often it's time to make a choice. Men especially. If your failure and if your sin and if your emptiness and if your debt and if your discontentment and if all of that, if all your misery drives you to admit it, and if all this misery drives you to admit that you're in need, and that if all this misery drives you to run to Jesus in faith for help and for strength, you'll become better. You'll be helped, and God will use it for the good. Then, and only then, can you be made mighty. We'll move on into these chapters then next week. Only then can you be made mighty in some way for God. You can escape bitterness and become better and better and better on this journey, because it's a journey. Or you become more bitter and broken and bitter again, and then broken some more if you like. There's plenty more of it. The enemy's not short of problems and ways to harass you, is he? And you're going to become bitter or better through your brokenness. And you can experience, I want to encourage you today that you can experience what these men experienced. What did they experience? These men brought their brokenness to David. You bring your brokenness to Jesus, and you'll experience what these men had. They were transformed. We read about them later in the book. They were transformed. They didn't stay the way they were. These men experienced transformation in the king's presence. They were transformed, in fact, I believe, because when you go back here, this cave's open. David's here. David's available. There's a place to go. Guys, there's a place to go with your brokenness. There's a king available. And what transformed these men is what will transform you and me. It's when we bring our sin and our guilt and our bitterness and our brokenness into the cave, into where Jesus is, into actually heaven's throne room now. There's a throne of grace available if you'll want it and have it. You see? And these men were changed by, I believe, by acceptance. There was a place to go. There was a pathway forward. There was hope in my life. David will take me in. There's acceptance. And I want to say that you can be transformed by the acceptance that Jesus brings you. He says, come to me, all ye who labour and are heavy burdened, and I will give you rest. I'll accept you, and I'll change you. And these men were transformed by David's acceptance. You can be transformed by the acceptance of Jesus. They were transformed by David's presence and his love. He was there for them. They were transformed, we read later on, and we'll see it. They were transformed, and they admired David so much for his faithfulness. David was faithful to these men. David loved these men, and they began to love him in his acceptance and in his presence. And this is how you're going to be transformed. Not by pretending everything's okay, but allowing your brokenness to lead you to a better place in the presence of Jesus.